Thomas, how do you feel living in the world of our new Kimetsu No Yaiba overlords?
Pretty good, actually. I've been feeling pretty good. My back's not as sore as it used to be anymore, so that's pretty nice. Do I get to see more Nezuko, is the question.
Nezuko-chan! No.
Oh, well then, let's burn it to the ground.
And on that note, welcome to This Week in Japan. I'm the Gaijin John.
I'm the Geek Tom.
And together we are Geeks and Gaijins, and we bring you all the news from around Japan.
And when we say all, we mean some. And none of the important news, just the stuff we find amusing.
Curated news.
Just the finest stories. You won't find them anywhere else, folks, apart from the news sites we rip them off from.
We discuss them as well. We add value. I also eat Japanese rubbish as well. That's content.
That's true. You won't get this content anywhere else, folks, because no one else is this dumb.
Yay! But speaking of people who aren't as dumb as we are, let's talk about the stupid amounts of money that Kimetsu no Yaiba has made at the box office.
Just ludicrous quantities. After
that, we have more Kimetsu no Yaiba news as it's encouraging crime. This is the fun kind of manga crime, not the creator getting arrested for anything crime.
Oh god, yeah, let's no.
I did just realise that, like manga crime, people go, oh god, no, not that one thing I like.
Manga crime and Onsen, oh dear lord, no, please, not this again.
Then I have ice cream. Yay, ice cream!
Everyone loves ice cream.
Only for me.
Apart from the lactose intolerant people of Japan.
Which is possibly about 70% of them. My Viking blood feels fine. Because Japan also loves festivals, we then have the Mask Festival. Ooh. Which is not as exciting or Venetian as it sounds.
Ah, boo.
To be honest, I don't want anyone to introduce Venetian masks to the Japanese. Because I feel like they'd go way over the top with it, and I'd feel uncomfortable.
I don't know. They survived Tuxedo Mask. I think we can trust them this once. I'm sure nothing bad will happen.
Just look at the strange traditional masks from, like, northern Japan. They're absolutely terrifying. Do not. I had to research some for a lesson. It was, so bad. I still have nightmares. That lesson went awfully. And then finally, we have the one, the only fall of the Japanese economy, as told through Kit Kats.
It's like the Big Mac Index, but with chocolate, which is how we do it in England as well. Only we have something called a Freddo instead. We'll explain it later, I'm sure.
But first of all, murdering demons and cinemas.
Wait, murdering cinemas?
No, that's the coronavirus's job, not okay. Kimetsu no Yaiba. Kimetsu no Yaiba has been doing the opposite in Japan because it has made bucket loads.
It's not the hero cinemas deserve, but it's the one they need right now.
This is the domestic box office. Well, they say the international box office, but it's really only opened in Japan.
Yeah, it's not available in the West at all, or Europe or North America, I don't think.
Yes, it's due to come out next year. So the weekend box office for Demon Slayer, the movie, Mugen Train, has shattered all records for Japanese domestic cinema and has made $44 million on its opening weekend. That is 4.6 billion yen. Yes, that's billion with a B. This is only in Japan. Japan has a population of about 120 million. So to put that in context, there are only 36 films in all of history that have earned over 10 billion yen. And this film has made over 4 billion yen in 3 days.
I think the article we are looking at has a pretty useful statistic to help us get that in perspective. It compares it to the money Frozen made in its first 3 days.
Frozen 2.
Frozen 2, that was right. Which is not nearly as much as that. It's
18.2 million.
18.2, which is a fraction of the money that Demon Slayer's made. It's just amazing.
It also beat Kimi no Nawa on My Name, currently number 4 of earnings of all time. So if Demon Slayer continues like this movie might be one of the top 3 things for domestic cinema in Japan of all time. And Thomas, do you want to guess what the top 3 movies in Japanese cinema are, according to numbers and Wikipedia?
Sorry, no, I can't. Spirited Away, I guess.
And you're correct!
Hey!
Spirited Away is number 1. Yay!
I know, culture.
Yeah, Spirited Away has made 30 billion yen at the Japanese box office. So, this is just making all the money. So much money. It beat Star Wars Rise of Skywalker in its IMAX opening. And
that was the best Freudian slip I've ever heard. Rise of Skywalker.
Skywalker.
I mean, you weren't wrong.
I'm not surprised by this because, one, you sent me an article earlier this week which says that Japan is relaxing COVID restrictions in cinemas because of Kimetsu no Yaiba.
That's something I wanted to point out, is that this movie was helped a lot by everyone, just by the cinemas going, well, to be fair, the Japanese government have already been quite lenient on cinemas as of September, I think it was. They started allowing people to go in. I can't tell if it's like completely relaxed, but they've at least lowered the social distancing regulations, with some restrictions still on food and drink. But for Kimetsu no Yaiba film, the music, the game, they allowed full cinemas, you're allowed to drink, you're not allowed to eat, and you're not allowed to talk, which I feel like, I don't know much about Japanese cinema culture, but those don't seem like two like really big things to me. What's your experience of going to Japanese cinemas?
They're not really big. I've only properly been to a Japanese cinema like once or twice. I saw Ad Astra, which was the Brad Pitt movie.
Ah.
But the cinema was quite empty, specifically because it was a late night showing and we'd gone to see the one that was in English with Japanese subtitles rather than the other way around. And generally it was quite quiet, but also it was quite a quiet film. Like, I didn't go see Boku no Hero Academia or like Star Wars in Japan. I didn't go to like a packed out cinema. I would expect the general public to be fine, but especially when it comes to families and old people, like, it's very hard to control. A Japanese 7-year-old is the same as a 7-year-old anyway.
Both the government and the cinemas were supporting Kimetsu no Yaiba on this, going, go make us money! Go, 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 go!
I was with a group of people the other day and we were messaging each other and we were like, oh, shall we go see the Kimetsu no Yaiba film? Like, it's going to be fully in Japanese, but we can enjoy the pretty colours.
Ooh, very pretty colours.
Everyone was like, when's it on the weekend? I looked on for opening weekend. The small cinema that is playing it in my city, which has maybe 4 screens, but it is basically, it's the biggest cinema in the prefecture. It was playing Kimetsu no Yaiba literally almost every hour. This movie is an hour and a half. And from about 8 a.m. to 10 o'clock at night, this cinema only has like 4 screens. It was playing it reliably. Like, boom, boom, boom. It's like, you know what? You're about an hour in, you think, I don't think I really understood the first half. Go buy another ticket, enter the next screening. It's already starting. And I said to my friends, like, whenever's fine.
When is Kimetsu no Yaiba on? Yes.
So when looking at that, we kind of decided, maybe we should wait.
You'd have been lucky to be able to get a ticket.
Also because there is a special manga volume that comes with like going to the cinema, or if you go to special cinemas, which is Rengoku Volume 0, and that's limited to 4.5 million copies. So for all I know, that's gone by now.
That does not exist for you anymore.
Good thing I can't read. Japanese, darn, I always forget that last bit. You might be asking, is it a good film? That doesn't matter.
That's very true. That's very true, yes.
It has got good reviews. Kimetsu no Yaiba is so huge here, it's hard to, like, describe. Well, speaking of Kimetsu no Yaiba-induced crime, hot news at a hot spring.
Got him.
This is in Yamaguchi City, the capital of Yamaguchi Prefecture, I will have you know.
Yamaguchi.
And there is a famous hot spring there called Onsen no Mori, which is just a normal onsen Japanese hot spring where you can go. And they have, like, a nice, like, manga reading shelf, so you can grab some stuff while you're relaxing, maybe in the onsen. And this is very common in lots of onsen. Like, it's just an honor system, so you grab it off, put it back when you're done. However, last month they had an issue where someone didn't go by the rules of take a penny, leave a penny, instead misread that and took 20 volumes of Kimetsu no Yaiba.
I'm just trying to picture the guy trying to smuggle out 20 books from his onsen without raising any suspicion.
Especially because you go into an onsen naked.
Do you read the manga naked? I feel like that's not where the library is at. I feel like the library is its own separate room where you probably have a robe on or something, Sean.
I'd hope so.
There's a strong risk of water damage otherwise.
Now, I'm thinking, like, we've all been to a hotel and accidentally, like, taken one of the books from the hotel.
Yeah, so
that's what hotel books are for.
I mean, it's just a towel. It's just there to be taken. What else am I going to do with it, really?
No one cares about Darren Brown's Inferno. Least of all, Darren Brown.
Yeah, I got this cool book a while back called The Old Testament, and it's just reading through it. Best book I ever found at a hotel. Don't know who left it there.
Lots of smiting. So, if you want to imagine how much 20 volumes of manga is, that's about 4,000 pages.
Again, did he just sort of walk out with them in a stack? Did he stuff them in his clothes? How did he manage this? I'm very impressed.
Did he bring bags? Did he plan this? This was posted online, and the Onsen were very nice, and they did a public statement saying, "Oh, someone has accidentally taken the manga home." The word "accidentally" there, using a lot of heavy lifting.
I mean, apparently, enough heavy lifting to lift 20 manga novels. So.
But even used a quote from Demon Slayer itself, saying that when someone is about to lose their way, let's all work together to keep them on the right path. So,
which goes completely counter to the response that was given online, which is, kill him! Burn him at the stake! How dare he! It's like, dude, chill.
There were some nice responses online, which involve just sending the Onsen loads of Kimetsu no Yaiba. So
yeah, they have a Kimetsu no Yaiba profit even without the original books now. They have a whole shelf of the stuff now, I believe.
They received some 140 books. And then, the reason this is in the news right now, happy news, the originals were returned. Yay! The culprit was not burned at the stake, nor turned into a demon.
What has our society come to? Where people can just return books that they've taken and apologise and all is forgiven.
The person who has been left unnamed, for obvious reasons. Them left a letter of apology, said that they were planning to return them after they were done reading them.
He just wanted to read Demon Slayer so badly. He couldn't wait. He couldn't wait to come back to the onset again. He had to take them with him.
Has this person not heard of the internet?
They're from Japan, John. It's a coin toss, really.
But apparently they had, because when they saw all the commotion they'd caused, they became scared and couldn't return them right away. Aww, my heart bleeds.
I mean, it does raise a compelling point that if you're just out for blood, people are less likely to own up to their mistakes and fix them because they're scared they're going to be, I don't know, lynched. So,
but I would also argue that maybe this person did not have, maybe I'm just throwing it out there, did not have intentions of returning them, and then perhaps saw stuff online about people being angry and thought, people are actually quite annoyed about this.
Uh-oh, I've done a bad.
Yes, because to put that in context, I bought about 4 volumes of manga the other day, and that set me back about £20. So this is the equivalent of spending about £120, maybe $150 or so on manga. It's not an unconsiderable theft, but also libraries exist.
Yeah, something tells me that this wasn't really a planned crime. I feel like there was just a little bit of impulse control gone astray, and they may or may not have had intentions to return the book. We'll never know because we're not telepaths, but
speak for yourself.
I do, in fact, because I don't know if John's a telepath because I'm not a telepath myself, as I just mentioned. But
subscribe to the podcast. Thomas cannot hear this. Subscribe to the podcast on Podbean, Facebook and Twitter and Spotify and iTunes. Leave a 5-star review. Sorry, what were you saying, Thomas? I zoned out there for a second.
All's well that ends well, and we should learn some, remorse and empathy from our boy Tanjiro.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I agree with the Onsen owner, and he has a request to make of everybody that if everyone would be so kind to no longer speak ill of the person who took the manga, and they say they believe that the person has reformed.
At the end of the day, it's just paper and ink. There's no reason to get up in arms about it, really.
But also, kids, here's a top tip from your friends John and Tom. Stealing is bad, okay?
Oh yeah, no, we're not endorsing theft in any capacity. We've already had a whole episode on foreigners stealing things, and that you should not do that.
I said not to steal pigs. No, quiet. Don't steal things.
Don't steal things, kids. Do as we say, not as we do.
Speaking of being extremely hungry and not stealing things.
Yes.
Here's a snack break I totally paid for.
Nice.
Please note, for the purposes of my Japanese work visa, I did not steal this. I've committed no crimes in Japan. I will continue to say this. I like living and working here.
So, what have you got for us this week, John? Through perfectly legal channels.
Yes, of going to the store and buying it.
Yes.
Well, I know I paid for it because it was goddamn expensive. And the reason this is goddamn expensive is this is Häagen-Dazs.
Ah, imported stuff. Nice.
Imported, but Häagen-Dazs, like a lot of companies, do specific Japanese flavours.
Of course. Where else do you go to try weird out other than Japan?
Good point. So currently they have 2 big new flavours for this autumn. So one of them being chestnut sweet bean.
Come again.
Because as we've established, autumn chestnuts. Chestnut sweet bean. So Anko, sweet red bean mixed with chestnuts in ice cream.
Alright, okay. That doesn't sound too bad. I haven't tried Anko, so I wouldn't know how that works, but...
That is the one that I did not get, because the one that I did get was Kinako, or Hanamochi Ginsei Kinako Kudomitsu.
Come again.
Kinako is roasted soybean powder, which is used a lot on sweet things here. Basically works as a sweetness enhancer. Ooh. And Kuromitsu is a kind of brown sugar syrup. And for those who are better at listening than Thomas, you might have heard me say mochi. Yes, this is a tub of ice cream with a mochi topping.
Oh my.
That being mochi, the kind of Japanese sweet rice cake.
It does sound like you've just got lots and lots of sweetness all stacked up on top of each other there then. That sounds like a sweetness bomb.
Yeah, so I've just opened it, and yes, it is covered in powder. It is covered in I wasn't expecting the ice cream to just be covered in powder. Yeah, ice cream should not look like that.
Oh, well, that is pretty much covered in something.
The mochi is not mixed in. It's literally a blob of mochi on top of ice cream, then covered in kinako powder.
I don't know what I expected. Oh my. I've never seen ice cream that moves like that.
So the weird thing with this powder is it's not really sweet by itself, it works with sweetness. So it's like a light brownish ice cream there is a literal just kind of semi-translucent layer of mochi between it and the powder. So here we go. Itadakimasu. I am confused.
You do look quite perplexed, yes.
You know I described everything as being kind of like sweet.
You did say, for a fairly regular basis, that things were going to be sweet or sugary or something to that effect, yes.
This is one of the least sweet ice creams that I think I've ever had.
Goodness. What's it taste like instead, then?
So the ice cream is just a kind of caramelly brown sugar. Like, it has a kind of caramelly flavour, but there's not a lot of sweetness to that ice cream. And the kinako powder itself isn't sweet. And the mochi is only slightly sweet. The mochi is mostly there for texture. So it's mostly... And I've just poured kinako powder all over myself. I'm really glad I didn't get the chestnut anko one now. It's exactly what it says on the tin. I just don't know really what I expected when I read the tin. That's legitimately exciting, though exceedingly messy. So I do recommend this if you want to try a traditionally weird Japanese Haagen-Dazs flavour, but this powder gets bloody everywhere. And also it's expensive. For a tiny tub, it's about 300 yen.
Oof.
Which is about $3.
Oof. But are you enjoying it, John? You're having a good time?
I'm enjoying it. I'm not enjoying it as much as some other Japanese ice cream sweets I've had.
Fair enough.
Including just plain anko by itself. Like plain anko with vanilla ice cream is really good. And you can get that in like taiyaki, like the fish stuff. The thing is, it's a winner already, but adding the mochi and like the kanako powder, I can see that some people who would absolutely love this, and I'm not one of them. But I'd give that a plain mochi out of 10. Not a flavoured kind of mochi. Now I need to hoover my carpet. It's covered in soybean powder. So that was something uniquely Japanese to eat. So let's speak of something uniquely Japanese to go see. This being the joys of Tokyo Maskland.
What is Tokyo Maskland exactly?
You know masks.
I'm vaguely familiar with the concept, yes.
Well, what if there was a mask land?
A land for masks, you say?
Admission is 500 yen
Okay.
in advance and 1,000 yen on the door.
Oh, okay. That's expensive.
It has been announced that there will be photo booths and attractions, as well as an area to make your own masks by hand.
What kind of masks are we talking about exactly?
Those are not specifically mentioned.
Okay, so, and what kind of attractions are we talking about exactly?
Error. Please see further information.
Error 404. Fun not found.
We have no idea. It's apparently going to go not in Tokyo, but in Yokohama City, in Kanagawa Prefecture, which is one of the cities that kind of smooge into Tokyo. The Tokyo metropolitan area, if you will. But from the 1st to the 30th of December. Well, the information we do know is that this is being organised by Stars Inc., which is a group that set up Tokyo Tapioca Land last year.
Who?
Tapioca's big.
Okay, yeah, I figured that.
Bubble tea, bubble tea, bubble tea, bubble tea.
They had an entire land just for bubble tea? That's pretty impressive.
Well, it was more like a convention / like room. Think more of like a small convention hall. This is not an outside door land.
That is indeed an indoor hall for tapioca. It's very nicely designed. I like the balloons.
You could get into that for about, I think, 1,000 yen, if a little bit more.
Does that include free tapioca?
You got one, like, free entry drink, and then it was about 500 yen if you wanted some more.
Who could afford that?
Each time. The people who live in Tokyo and go to Tapioca Land.
Apparently.
Though it was criticised for looking a bit like a school festival. Which it kind of did, though, as we've established on this podcast, school festivals in Japan are kind of cool.
Yeah.
If you ask me 500 yen, like, entry fee to go to a school festival, I'd probably pay that.
I mean, it's an exclusive club with a very limited clientele. It's very hard to get into those.
All I'm saying is that I lived in London for 3 years. I've wasted money on a lot worse. Though not as bad as the souvenirs from Tapioca Land, which included a 300 yen, just large black or white button. They look like tapioca, like bubbles, but they were just plain buttons.
Fantastic.
But with Tapioca Land.
Oh my god, please. Not even like large fonts, just tiny, tiny little small print, that's it. It's just the tiniest little small print at the bottom of the black button reads Tapioca Land, Tokyo. Who thought that this was a good idea? This is a complete rip-off.
But also, Thomas, Tapioca Land had one thing. One totally redeemable thing.
Go on.
It had a ball pit.
Hey! Gotta love the ball pit.
That's where the Dashcon ball pit went, guys. It was taken by Tapioca Land.
Wow. So you can pull off a ball pit at a convention and it can work out. It just has to be tapioca themed. Today I learned.
I just really hope they don't have a mask themed ball pit.
No, you couldn't pull up a ball pit this year, no.
Because one, that seems unhygienic.
Yeah.
Two, actually terrifying. I think I've had nightmares like that, where I've just woken up, like, just falling through masks. Like, no! And then you just rise up like an Egyptian mummy covered in disposable masks.
That is someone's waking nightmare, yes.
So, by all accounts, like, the tapioca thing was actually, like, relatively fun. And I'm sure if you live in Tokyo, or if you live in whatever city near Tokyo this is from, Yokohama City, that I'm sure it sounds like a fun time. And if you got nothing else to do at Christmas, wear a mask and go to Maskland.
Remember to stay 6 feet apart from everyone else at Maskland.
Everyone hates the Abe no masks, the special masks given out by the Japanese government. They were small, they were awful, they didn't cover enough. You could wash them, but some of them smelled. Though, one thing that was really good about them, they're really easy to dye. So lots of people have been making loads of cool art on Japanese Twitter by dyeing their Abe no masks.
Sweet!
I recommend looking up, like, traditional Japanese dyeing techniques that they've then been using on Abe no masks. They're really, really cool.
God, that does sound cool. Every cloud has a silver lining, hey, John.
Exactly. But speaking of the cloud with the Kit Kat lining, it's Nestle. This cloud ain't got nothing. Woo.
It's like if a cloud charged you to rain.
Yep, pretty much. 'Cause, Thomas, you might have heard of Kit Kats.
I have vaguely, yes.
Japan is very famous for its Kit Kats.
Yes.
This being because the phrase kitsukatsu, or you will succeed, sounds conveniently like the word Kit Kat.
That is very convenient. They really looked into that one.
They really did, and they took the boat and all the money it came with. And rowed as fast as they could. But the thing with Kit Kats in Japan is that anyone who comes here will, one, be amazed by the insane amount of flavours, including sake, red bean, pear drop, ridiculous matcha, non-ridiculous matcha, and we also tried party ice cream as opposed to non-party ice cream.
Depressed ice cream. 1 a.m. ice cream.
Well, this ice cream will definitely be depressed because the Kit Kats are getting smaller. Oh, that's the other thing. Kit Kats in Japan are bloody tiny.
They're Japan size.
Like, the Halloween-sized ones, the mini ones,
Yeah.
those are Kit Kat Japan-sized ones.
That's standard issue for Japan, is it?
But they're getting even smaller.
How? There won't be anything left of them if they get any smaller. It'll just be a kit.
So the packaging hasn't changed. But stop me when you've heard this one before, except we all have. The old version was 12 grams. The new one is 10 grams. So you might be thinking, oh, that's only 2 whole grams. But that's almost 20% of the chocolate gone. Imagine you were eating your dinner and Nestle went, no, and took 20% of it. Because obviously they're still the same price, Thomas.
Yes, they have not changed the price despite shaving a nice 20% off each Kit Kat. Oh, for God's sake. They did release a statement announcing this, but people only just started realising what the difference was, apparently.
To be honest, Thomas, if you haven't noticed, there are bigger things going on in the world right now than Kit Kats.
Most people do not read Nestle's legal documents, let's be real. It's not a thing most people do for fun.
What Nestle has been talking about is the fact their new Kit Kat contains 10% less sugar.
And 20% less Kit Kat.
Does that mean the sugar content has increased?
Maybe. We'll have to check the Nestle stats. They've done my science on this. Someone who is a scientician, do it for me.
I'm not a mathematizer.
No.
But it seems, from a legal perspective, that the recipe should now be 10% less sugar.
Good thing.
Because they say they have put soy milk, like, powder instead of part of the sugar.
Yeah, that's the reason they're claiming that the size change is because they changed the recipe.
Well, I think it's they're claiming that they did that at the same time. But what they're also claiming about the size is that it's so people concerned about calories can easily enjoy it. Because you know what, Thomas, when I've been going to the gym and thinking about my diet, you know what I've been thinking? You know that extra 10 calories? That's been stopping me gorging on Kit Kats. But now they're down to 54 calories. I can't stop myself. I had them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yes. Apparently, also, the original Kit Kat size was too large, according to Nestle's research on the subject. People were thinking, this tiny, tiny Kit Kat is just too big for my small Japanese hands and my small Japanese mouth and my small Japanese stomach. Clearly, what we need is a slightly smaller Kit Kat.
Yeah, so there's been lots of arguments online, and this very much resonates with us as British people of the Freddo, both inflation and shrinkflation. Yeah, this is the point we said we'd talk about more.
Freddos used to be 5 pence, John! They used to be 5 pence!
So, for those who don't know, Freddos are a kind of small, very simple chocolate bar in the United Kingdom that used to be 5 pennies, and they were just a frog, and they were plain chocolate in the shape of a frog. Totally unrelated to chocolate frogs from Harry Potter.
Definitely not inspired in any way.
So it was just a thin piece of chocolate for 5 pence. Then they became 10 pence. Then they became smaller. Then they became 15 pence. And then they changed the recipe. And then Kraft bought Cadbury's. And then Brexit.
Anyway, they're now like 66p or something ridiculous, and my childhood is destroyed and lies in front of me in ashes. So, everything has gone terribly wrong, and nothing is sacred.
So, Thomas, I feel like you've got a bit Mandela affected, because the price of Freddo was 10 pence until 2005.
Probably. They used to be 10 pence, John! They used to be 10 pence!
They started this in the 1930s, but it was relaunched in the 90s and priced at 10 pence, and was 10 pence up until 2005, and then has roughly increased in price by 2 pence a year. In 2016, it became 25 pence, and in 2017, it is 30 pence, which is double the price accounting for inflation. Double!
We're all being robbed blind, is what I'm saying.
Though for 1 week in January 2019, Tesco reduced their price to 10 pence as part of their centenary celebration. So if you can time travel back to 2019...
Man, if I could time travel back to 2019, I'd do a lot of things different. But yes, I'd buy a lot of Freddos for cheap.
Yeah, so this is an 18-gram chocolate bar, and it's currently 25 pence. It's still 25 pence right now.
Oh, dear.
So they must have reduced the price slightly. So maybe Freddo's going to go down, or maybe Freddo's being hit by Brexit as well. Who knows?
Who knows? But anyway, yes, everything happens the same everywhere. Kit Kats are smaller now, and you're paying the same price in Japan. And Freddos are smaller now, and you're paying more money than they used to be.
Everything is horrible.
Nothing will ever be as good as they used to be. The economy is shot, and they're only funneling more money upwards than we were before.
Can I be my boring historian ass and go, it actually wasn't good at all. You were just a child.
No, you're right there. Everything was awful already. We just didn't know.
Yeah. Or, sorry, let's rephrase this. Things were awful for people who weren't you. And you have no empathy.
That's true. That's true.
Japan podcast! Yay!
Hey! What was I doing? I was thinking of something, and then I forgot what I was thinking of.
Yeah, so there's lots of argument online, particularly about, like, the state of the Japanese economy, because the Japanese economy was already in freefall before the COVID pandemic, and so everyone's a bit like, eh.
First of all, consumption must increase and the market must be activated. Close the gap between rich and poor and raise wages for workers. Stabilise employment by making irregular employment regular. Reduce the burden on low-income earners. Whenever disposable income increases, consumption will increase. If each and every citizen has the economic power to withstand price increases, companies will naturally stop shrinkflation.
That was the New Zealand Prime Minister there, Jacinda Ardern.
Weighing in on Kit Kat prices in Japan.
That was a translation of @Narum Kia on Twitter.
For some time, many consumers have said they are concerned about calories and want to hold back on their sugar intake.
That's Nestle.
That's Nestle.
Stop parroting our corporate overlords. They pay people to do that.
Yes,
they
exactly.
haven't paid us anything yet.
We are available.
Oh, sorry, is that a call? Yep, got it. This is total fake news and lies. Kit Kats are delicious and are everything they always have been. Consume.
Oh, here it is. I love this hot take. Looks like they had to choose between raising the price or reducing the amount. Nestle's $1 billion company. They don't have to choose jack.
Or, of course, they can just steal some more water from Indian people.
Exactly. They got money to burn, guys.
Yep, and it's probably a lot of it's already yours. But yeah, what a happy note to end the podcast on. If you want to get more happy content like this, you can find us on other places in the internet.
Let's see how long that stays in the podcast.
Voice to try and maintain my sanity. Thomas.
John.
Where can they find us at home?
Facebook, Twitter, Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, tune in on the Amazon thing that I keep forgetting exists.
Instagram, The Gaijin John. Twitter, The Gaijin John. Facebook, Geeks and Gaijins. We are Geeks and Gaijins on most stuff.
Yes. You can check out John's Instagram. I forget to plug it about as much as John forgets to upload things on it. So yeah, have a look at that for food and other things. And yes.
Mostly food.
And then we stream sometimes on Twitch when we can get our set schedule sorted and we aren't too tired.
Yeah.
Time zones are fun.
Yeah, time zones and also us both working full-time jobs. Woo. And, have hobbies and lives.
What we're saying is, you're welcome. Be grateful.
Trash.
Know your
Bye,
place.
guys. Thank you for listening.
Ta-ta. See you next week.
We will see you next week in Japan.